Let's find out from Tom what he thinks about the CELTA course.
My name's Tom Godfrey, and I'm the director and owner of ITI. I'm a teacher, an English language teacher and a teacher trainer. I fell into teaching by accident, really. I found teaching offered many advantages for me. It was an opportunity to travel, which I enjoyed. It was also an opportunity to meet new people and visit different cultures. But also teaching gave me the chance to be creative, and also in the classroom there's some autonomy, so I had freedom to do my own things. My first job was in Libya, and I found teaching difficult in the first 2 or 3 years because I had no training at all. I had very little language awareness. I didn't know much about my own language, although I'm a native speaker of English. And I had no methodology training. And I think I realized then how important training is. And I didn't want other people to have the same problems that I did when they start teaching. If you want to get involved in teaching English as a foreign language, you need some kind of qualification. And this is commonly called a TEFL certificate, Teaching English as a Foreign Language certificate. CELTA is the certificate in English language teaching to adults, and it's the most widely recognised initial teaching qualification for teaching English as a foreign language. It's accredited by Cambridge University, so it has an international status. On the course, there are 4 main components where the tutor will demonstrate methodology, language practice, and input about the language and how to teach it.
I've been on a plane, and as you were flying, the door of the plane comes open, and so someone falls off the plane.
No.
It happens to you? Never?
Well, I can't imagine it.
You have 2 sentences here. Yeah. You work in your groups, and look at the 2 examples, and try and answer these questions, please.
In both sentences, the actions happen at the same time.
4, same time or not?
Yes. Yes.
No.
No. Kind of.
He was traveling and then the door came open. So the door came open after.
But he was traveling even after the door came up.
We're traveling, going somewhere. So would you say this is the sentence here? As he was traveling?
Continuous.
When did the door come open? Somewhere here or
At some
somewhere
point,
here?
at some point in the past.
Forget the past.
Yeah, okay.
So he's traveling,
Yes.
right? Did the door come open here? Or
No,
here?
no.
Right here?
Yeah.
Somewhere here. Right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So was that the same time or not the same time? Nice. So do we agree that 4 is yes?
Yes.
Okay. Open.
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 Came open.
Came open.
Came open.
Came open.
Any licking here?
Yes.
We licking anything? Came open?
Yes.
Came open? Came open. Came open. Alright, good. Came open. Came open and he fell out.
Came open and he fell out.
Piano. Ready. Soy de New York. Soy de New York. Soy de.
Soy de.
Soy de.
Soy de.
Soy de New York.
So, Detroit.
Hola.
Hola. Mi llamo Sajada.
Mi llamo Rami.
Soy de Ten.
Soy de New York. Muy bien.
Soy de.
Then there is teaching practice, which is probably the core of the CELTA course. And this is where participants plan their lessons, teach lessons, and get feedback on their lessons.
Let's take a look at one of the TPs.
Today we're going to do some reading, and our reading is going to be about a place called Chernobyl. Has anyone ever heard of Chernobyl? Chernobyl. What happened in Chernobyl?
Very big explosion.
Big Bang?
Yeah, there was a big explosion. So we all know what happened there. It was a nuclear disaster. Alright? So we're going to read about someone that was living in Chernobyl. And I want you to do the reading, and there will be some questions. And try to answer them while you do the reading. Check with your partner, check with your neighbor if you don't know the answers. Alright guys, did you guys check, compare with your partners? So, Serhan. Just Serhan. Where does Paulina come from?
Paulina come from the village of Policia East Northern Belarus.
Correct. Everyone have that? Osman. When was Paulina born?
Born in 1988.
That's correct. Did everyone have 1988? All right. When was the Chernobyl disaster?
1986.
That's right. All right. Can everyone look at the first sentence? It says, the worst nuclear accident in history occurred in the Ukrainian city of Chernobyl. Does everyone know what the meaning of the word occurred is? What does that mean? Occurred. For something to occur. I'm gonna drop this. Has it occurred? I'm gonna drop the eraser. Has it occurred yet? No, it hasn't occurred, right? But now has it occurred? Yes, because it happened to occur. Some statements. I want you to do the reading and check to see if the statements are true or false. All right? Can someone write the answers? From the reading, number one. False. Yeah, that's right. Because we know she was born when?
2 years later.
That's right. All right. How about number four?
False.
All right. Can someone explain why number four is false? Why is it false, number four?
Because no 8 experts. When he was 8.
Yeah, that's right, guys. It doesn't say how many experts if you look at the reading.
Only one expert.
Yeah. Have any of you guys ever spent a long time away from home before? Yeah. So, is that like a hard or easy thing? Hard. Yeah, it can be hard when you leave your home. Talk to your groups and talk about some things that are challenging or hard when you leave home. But also talk about things that are exciting, you know. Thanks for having the class with me, guys. This is my last class with you guys, so I'm gonna miss you guys.
Now, let's talk to one of the students about how their TP went.
So, a typical TP scenario, you'd be planning your TP as soon as you get your lesson plan or your teaching points. But that's not always the case because you're going in and out of input sessions, watching other people's TPs, and feedback and such. But as soon as you can start looking at the textbook, I'm trying to look at the textbook and get an idea of the kinds of things that I want to do in my lesson. But normally, you finish the input session in the afternoon, you go home, it can take a while, and you're usually pretty tired. But as long as you have an idea in your head, making the lesson isn't super hard because the website, EnglishLessonPlanner.com, spells it out pretty well for you to make a lesson plan quickly. And then if you're familiar with what you're going to be teaching, the language analysis shouldn't be too hard. It's not about difficulty in learning something, it's about planning your own material and usually you should be able to finish it all within the night before the next lesson plan. But then during the teaching lesson, 80% of the battle is controlling your own nerves when you're teaching. Having your own lesson helps with that, but a lot of that is just your own mentality. And I think it's good to go into the lesson thinking, you know, I'm here to learn, so I just want to try my best, and it's never going to be perfect. Even expert teachers are never perfect. And when I get my feedback, that'll be something to learn from, so it's good to do the teaching practice.
So everybody is given individual attention. Everybody in teaching has different strengths and weaknesses, and the feedback session is designed to help learners, help participants on the course recognise where their strengths are and where they need to improve.
And to find out feedback very important to find out what you do feedback.
What positive things did your peers say about your lessons?
That the students seemed to understand the target language by the end of the class, and were practicing it within the groups.
I think so.
So it seemed like the sub-aim of listening was also partially achieved in that they had listening task in there, and through the drills and other error correction processes they were able to really understand how to identify the words and then also use them correctly. So there was also a bit of productive skills involved in there.
So I have said that he thinks that I did well during the clarification part. He praised that I used backchaining to drill.
Okay.
And the fact that I focused on pronouncing the prepositions.
The elision in next to.
The elision.
In fact, it was nice. I thought that because the elision was so well modelled that the students were actually wondering what you were saying, which is one of the issues with connected speech. All the lessons were really nicely staged, nicely student-centred, so there's polishing stuff for you to do rather than major action points, which is good. One of the things that you're all doing in your instructions is starting off with "you're going to." You're going to, or we're going to, or I'm going to. You're going to do this, I'm going to give you this handout, you're going to do this, you're going to do this. And it's not necessary, it's kind of over description. I'm going to ask you to pass the salt. Why don't you just say, pass the salt? Why not just say, read and answer these questions? Read and match the heading. At this level and at all levels, but at this level, if you ask questions to set instructions, it's a lot easier and it invites students into the task. So throw your hand up, say, okay, so this is Robert's room. What's in his room? Listen and fill in the gaps.
London's burning. Now you.
London's burning. London's burning.
Fetch the engines. Fetch the engines.
Fetch the engines. Fetch the engines.
Fire! Fire!
Fire! Fire!
Pour on water. Pour on water.
Pour on water. Pour on water.
Okay, now this is a language practice game, and it's inspired by Steve Jobs. Now, on this one piece of paper, I want you to write an activity. And on the other piece of paper, I want you to write a place. Write an activity and a place, and then put them back here. So Batu has a telephone, and so do I. And we telephone each other. Hi. Hi.
Hello.
Who's that?
It's Batu.
Oh, hi Batu, it's Tom.
Hello, how are you?
Good, yeah. How are you?
Great, thanks.
Oh, okay. What are you doing?
I was was just hanging around.
Hanging around?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What do you mean hanging around? Just hanging around?
Yeah.
Okay, where?
In Mongolia.
Oh, really? Ah, okay, that's interesting. So what are you doing hanging around in Mongolia?
Well, I just arrived last night and
Aha!
I did some sightseeing. And I went
Okay.
to Italy.
Why Mongolia?
Well, it was a long, like, kind of dream country for me to go.
Really?
Yeah.
Dream country, Mongolia, why?
Well, because of this. What are you doing?
Well, what am I doing? Well, I'm skiing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Tell you where I'm skiing. I'm skiing in the library. This is a competition. I'm going to give you a topic, and I want you to make a picture related to my topic. Your first topic is the wedding. Freeze! We've got some kind of tension, some kind of story. I mean, this picture has some depth, but it's not great, okay? So for the first round, this group has won, because I think this is the best, most interesting.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
Fine.
I'm very well, thank you. I'm going to teach you a new language. I'm going to teach you the first word. This is the easiest word. Da.
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 Doobie.
Doobie.
Da.
Da.
Doobie.
Doobie.
Dippity. Da doobie doobie.
Fresh fish and pizza.
Aha. Dippity da dippity.
Plenty of fried sausages.
Very good. Your turn. With your partner, choose a page. Tell your partner which page you're on. Take it in turns. One of you says something from my language, and your partner says what it is in English.
I'm seeing everything. You better not.
What is stress physically? What is it?
It's the raise of the pitch of your voice.
Right, it's okay. It's to do with the change in your pitch level in your voice. To find out which kinds of words are stressed, come up with a list of the words that are stressed.
So the nouns are
Okay, so what kind of words are stressed?
verbs, adjectives.
Question words, anything else? Negatives. So negative auxiliaries. Why? Why are they stressed?
All of these.
Yes.
I think they are content words.
Okay, good. So these are known as content words. They're the ones that carry the meaning. So on this side, what kind of words are not usually stressed? The opposite. The not content words.
Like pronouns,
Pronouns.
prepositions,
Conjunction.
conjunctions.
Like, however, that you can't not stress. You can't really say, I don't know this, I went shopping yesterday, or whatever, I didn't buy anything. You wouldn't do it like that. You'd say, I went shopping, however, and it actually takes stress. There's a general thing. If it carries major meaning, it will be stressed. So if these are content words, these are what we call function words. Are the stressed words usually in neutral speech, usually at the beginning, the middle, or the end of the utterance? Look at them with your partners. At the beginning, the
I
middle.
would say before the subject and the verb.
neutral speech. Meaning words. Generally, in these short utterances, is the main stress at the beginning, the middle, or the end? Yeah, the main content word at the end of the utterance, because that's where the meaning. Where does John live? He lives near the bank. So you will look at your piece of paper, okay, and you will decide if you're going to have to say something. If you've got a sentence with something underlined and in bold, then you have to speak. If you don't have anything underlined, if you have something in parentheses, then you're listening. Listening for your father.
I'm sitting down with you. You're my partner.
Yeah, you're my partner.
Let's check.
Michael wanted to buy the red shirt.
Not the green one.
Okay.
Michael wanted to buy the red shirt.
The red jumper.
Michael wanted to buy the red shirt.
Not just any red shirt.
Michael wanted to buy the red shirt.
Not then.
Michael wanted to buy the red shirt. Not the current.
In neutral speech, you probably just say Michael wanted to buy the red shirt. But Michael wanted to buy the red shirt. Michael wanted to buy the red shirt. Michael wanted to buy the red shirt. It's also important to help students with sentence stress because it changes meaning. And so we have to be careful when we're drilling about how we get students' attention to certain things. Similarly, with error correction, you might get a student who says, for example, I'm going to the cinema. And the correction is, right, I am going to the cinema. Okay, listen, I am going to the cinema. And then your student's going to say, I am going to the cinema. I am having a party. He is playing tennis. But we need to then give them a natural model. I'm going to the cinema. I'm going to the cinema.
And if you develop over the course, then you will succeed in passing the course. What happens is participants build a portfolio which includes their lesson plans and the feedback from their tutors, and at the end of this course the portfolio is submitted to Cambridge and given a grade. Participants who respond well to the tutor feedback do well because they can see a clear development in their teaching. It is possible to fail the course, but typically people fail because they find the workload is too heavy. It's a very strenuous course. The value of the CELTA is that you learn a lot about teaching English as a foreign language, but you also develop skills that will help you in any instruction or teaching situation. You learn how to manage classes, you learn how to interact with people, you learn how to listen, and you learn how to collaborate and cooperate with colleagues. It's kind of an eye-opener in terms of not only teaching methodology, but how they meet challenges in their teaching career and in their life.